Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. I'm a little bit behind, I must admit. I do apologise. We are here for round 5 of the VDUB Enduro Cup. And we will get right on. We use the Beetles for a 60-minute race. The fuel is high, and the tyre wear is high also. It's all about managing your car in this series. I'll quickly tell you the table so far before we move on to qualifying. If I can find the table. There we go, I found it. See, didn't take too long. Here we go then. So the table is as from round 4 is Matt Psycho is at the top of the table with 66 points. Digital Blasphemy is second on 60 points. Skyjacker third on 47 points. Shiren is fourth on 40 points. Daz is fifth on 39 points. Uncle B is sixth on 34 points. Koikarp seventh on 31 points. Katula 8th on 26 points. Electric 9th on 21 points. 10th is Racer Brown on 20 points. Ranger 11th on 16 points. JWO Pace is 12th on 14 points. Jokers is 13th on 13 points. Turtle is 14th on 12 points. Rido is 15th on 12 points. Web Smurfer 16th on 10 points. And Rivixter is 17th on 4 points. And I believe a couple of people have told me they can't make it this week. Definitely, I think it was Web Smurfer. He has a different name in the Discord. But I believe he's unable to make it. Rivixter, still not well. We've got 7 here. And Ranger, he says he might be able to just get here in the nick of time. So I don't know if a Skyjacker will delay qualifying for a minute or so to give him the opportunity to get in. We will see. But there you go. We're looking at last week's winner, Digital Blasphemy. And we're at Spa. What a track. What an absolute cracking track to be racing these cars at, if I do say so myself. So Digital Blasphemy is out there with his orange army helmet, looking good. Skyjacker also out there in... Oh, no, he's just gone. Shiren in his wacky Beetle, doing the job, the Russian sensation. Car 69. Electric out there, having a bit of a practice. He won't be partaking in the qualifying in this round. The stewards deemed there was an incident between himself and Skyjacker, car 99, in qualifying last week, where he put the hoofs on right in front of Skyjacker, and it affected Skyjacker's lap. So the stewards have decided, as punishment, he shall sit in the pits. Oh, a Ranger has just shown up. That's cracking stuff. So, unfortunately, Electric will not partake in qualifying. But hopefully that won't slow him down in the race. Uncle B out there in the famous pink Beetle. He's looked strong in a few rounds. It's just that fuel wear for the fuel consumption for Uncle B. He's just got to try and find a way of saving that fuel. Short shift, Uncle. Oh, we're saying ready already. Here we go. Look at that. No messing around when Skyjacker is at the helm. Is it 8 o'clock? It is 8 o'clock as well. Yes. See, that's how slow I was. Unbelievable. Shocking for me. And there is a Ranger quickly trying to get a lap in before qualifying starts. But yeah, in the chats they've been talking about it, and you don't need to let these cars rev right up. They go just as fast with a short shift, they've realised. The torque is such that you don't need to go all the way out there. A little sip of my warm beverage. It's still warm at the moment, because that's how short of time I was eating my dinner. Bangers and fries, if you wish to know, right to the last minute. Slipping down those sausages, wasn't I? So Skyjacker in the chat saying a good evening before he popped out on his out lap. Shiren also, remember, space yourself out, boys, out there. Matt Psycho, our championship leader, he's learned to drive these Beetles. He's getting the speed out of the car, and the fuel consumption is good. So Matt Psycho mastering the Beetle in this championship quite nicely. Daz has done absolutely a cracking job all season long. He always seems to have an issue on the first lap that puts him back a few places, but he comes back strong. Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful corner there we're seeing as they go around Bruxelles. Up through the corner with a no name. Heading towards Pouin. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with corner names all the way through. It's just I found the map. They're into Pouin now. Pouin, a very tricky corner. Should I get on board with the Daz as we travel around this lap? And after Pouin, we go towards Campus. After this corner, it's Stavelot. Sounds like something from like Lancelot. Stavelot. Yeah, it's going to take some skills driving around here, trying to have fuel management and look after the tyres. Well, the tyres haven't been such an issue this season, I've got to say. Although last week at Alsace, it was a bit of a tyre killer. This is the longest straight they've got in on Spa, Rentremont, heading up towards the chicane to start the flying lap. We'll get out of the car as Daz makes his way across the line. We'll have a look through. So, there we see Skyjacker going through Le Sort. Shall we have a look at Radion and Eau Rouge in the car before they get there? And here we go. Look at that. Ascending up the hill. Absolutely cracking. Looks like the Beetle doesn't quite want to stick in there, but he got it through. Beautiful stuff there from a Skyjacker. Looking for a good result here. It's one of his favourite tracks. Matt Psycho also knows this track fairly well. Sharon, we haven't seen him shine just yet in the Beetles. We're waiting to see a great performance from the Russian sensation. Does everything well in everything he's raced so far. Mama Sykes in the chat saying hi one and all. Hi thingy. Hi Mama. Hope you are keeping well. There is a Daz in fourth with Koikarp out there in the VRC liveries. It does wear it well, does that Beetle, I must say. I've seen that orange, black and white on many a car, but it sits very nicely on the Beetle, I've got to say. Car 23. Another one good with fuel consumption out there is Koikarp. Uncle B, like I said, he's got a heavy right foot. He likes to get through the fuel, but he's very fast, and it's a lovely looking car. I think one of Pat's pieces of masterpiece. One of Pat's, he's like our Banksy, Patsy. I don't know if he wants to be called Patsy, but he's like the Banksy of the VRC, putting his trademark colours on each championship. There's always a car running in one of our championships with Pat's colours emblemed onto the chassis. Digital Blasphemy, the winner from last week. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to follow that up. And we have a Ranger out there also. So Skyjacker has set first time as Ranger makes a mistake on his first flying lap. Matt Psycho hasn't managed to beat the Skyjacker. Sharon has just popped one up there ahead. It's very tight though, very tight indeed. Daz there, Daz some 4 seconds off of Psycho. Must have made a mistake on that lap, we assume. But Matt Psycho third fastest at the moment. I'm sure that will change before the end. Koikarp crosses the line, goes ahead of Daz. He's a second and a half off of Matt Psycho. Just under 2 seconds off of the lead of this race. A bit late breaking into La Source there. And Uncle B coming up towards the line. Is he going to do a cracker? He only goes for fastest. Just pops it ahead of Koikarp. And behind Matt Psycho so far. First blood is to Skyjacker as we wait for Digital Blasphemy coming up through the chicane. And what can he manage in his Beetle? As he comes through the second part of the chicane, nice and steady on the throttle, up through the gears, chasing to the line. He goes fourth fastest. That fourth is very coveted. Everyone wants to get in fourth. They've all popped in fourth so far. Ranger still in turmoil out there on his first flying lap. He'll get it together though. You wait. So Skyjacker at the moment sitting on pole position, doing the best of the rest of the guys. Shiren also a solid run on his first attempt. And Matt Psycho, he'll be looking to get better. We'll see Matt Psycho for a little bit. He's purple. He is purple on his second run. I knew he wouldn't be down that far down the grid for long. He is the GOAT so far this season. As he comes up towards the final corner, the chicane. Can he do a Skyjacker? Skyjacker's crossed the line. He hasn't bettered his time. Oh, he has bettered his time. I do apologise. So, sets a new time to beat. There goes Masako. Doesn't quite beat it by 600s, but Shiren does. Shiren now goes to the top of the pile in his very colourful Beetle, the Beetle of generations. Daz setting another faster time. Good for 6th place, only 2/10 off of Uncle. And 5/10, half second ahead of Koikarp. Koikarp crossing the line. He does not better his time. And we look towards Digital Blasphemy. He's just coming. No, he's not. Someone else is. Or is it Uncle? Yes, Uncle. Sorry. I look at the little blue arrows on the map, you see. And I have to have a guess there. Uncle B Darren up into 4th place. Just behind Matt Psycho. 6/10 though. A little knock on Le Source. Le Source, sorry. I say it as a joke, Le Source. But it's Le Source. But yes, Shiren doing the job out there at the moment. In a very colourful car. And, oh, Digital Blasphemy is knocked Uncle B down a position for that coveted 4th place. They're all seeming to aim at. Koikarp did not go faster on his second flyer. Sitting in 7th at the moment. Ranger will be hoping to do better this lap. He was really off the pace on that flyer. But he's doing a better job this time around. As he comes up to a sector. I thought there was a sector in that part. Possibly not. Well, there you go. You live, you learn. But it's looking a lot stronger now from our man Ranger out there. Representing, oh, definitely a lot better. Representing the Amigos Racing team tonight. In his Gulf liveried Beetle. I think that's one of Koikarp's pieces. We like artworks. So, yes, not enough fuel to get to the 15-minute when they're a full vamp out there. So Skyjacker and Matt Psycho popping into the pits for a top-up. Maybe some fresh tyres. Daz pops one in. Good enough for 6th place. And Art, he does go faster. Oh, look at that. How close to Koikarp's time was he? 800ths off of Koikarp's time. So he's got enough fuel, though, to crack on around for another one. Shiren also saving good fuel out there. Next to Skyjacker and Matt Psycho, who have come into the pits. They'll have to do an outlap now. So possibly only get one more run at it. One more bite, maybe 2. As a Digital Blasphemy is making his way around. He's got to find himself half a second to try and jump Matt Psycho and Skyjacker if he can find it. And he's got a green. He's doing a personal best as he comes around and chases to the line. What has he got in it? Oh no, 700ths off of his own time. Koikarp into the pits to get some fuel. And Shiren still cracking on out there. See if he's near a sector. We'll stick with him until he gets to the sector to see how he's doing. Remember, Skyjacker and Matt Psycho only on outlaps right now. There, he's on an outlap. Digital Blasphemy on a run. His fuel's low, it might be his last run. As we see, Shiren How's he saved that much fuel in qualifying and got pole? Nice little bunny hop over the curbs. Beautiful. Took some lovely air there for the Russian sensation. Beautiful stuff as Shiren makes his way around to the fast part of the track. He's giving it full beans in 7th gear, up to about 155 miles an hour. Absolutely cracking. And electric I don't think's entered. He should have entered. They might have to stop afterwards to allow electric in. But Shiren around now. He could have entered qualifying, he just had to stay in the pits for it. As he crosses the line, 2 seconds down. Skyjacker comes up towards the chicane, and they might have to exit out at the end of this just to let electric enter. He was meant to enter, just sit in the pits for the 15 minutes, but Skyjacker, he now is starting his flying lap, as Matt Psycho will be. We'll keep an eye on Digital Blasphemy as he makes his way around along Blanchimont. How's Uncle B doing? Uncle B a little bit further back. He's not quite at the sector yet. And his Digital Blasphemy, he's got to do the lap, hasn't he? He's got to do the lap. Because if he goes in the pits, I don't think he'll have time to get an outlap done. So he's just got to go for it and then press pause and go straight in. No, he's going in. He's going in. Interesting. Uncle B, though, coming up to a sector. We'll see how he does as he crosses. He's 2/10 down on his time. And he needs to find just a couple of hundredths to get himself ahead of Digital Blasphemy. Shiren, meanwhile, though, looking great for pole position. Skyjacker has started his flying lap, as has Matt Psycho out there. And Uncle B just coming to the end of his lap. We saw he was just a couple of tenths down on his best time. Has he been able to claw some back through Blanchimont and that final chicane as he goes towards the line? Not quite, no. So Skyjacker is the man that we are watching there. He's only nearly 2 hundredths off of pole time as he heads around. And it's going to be, oh, he's got a purple. He's got a purple. Where's Shiren? Can Shiren put it out of touch for Skyjacker on this lap? He'll get another lap after this as well. Another bite of the cherry. How he's made that fuel last, I do not know. He's done an absolutely corking job. So Shiren crossing the line. He doesn't go any faster, so Skyjacker, it's there to take, it's there to grab. And Ranger has gone faster. He's gone up to 6th. Great move from Ranger. Skyjacker crosses the line. He takes pole from Shiren by 2/10. But Matt Psycho is also buzzing around, and you can never count Matt Psycho out as he comes through the chicane in his beautiful Peroni Beetle. Ooh, he grabs 2nd, so he knocks Shiren down to 3rd place. But he's 9 hundredths off of Skyjacker's time. Uncle B, he's got a personal best on the go. He could get himself ahead of Digital Blasphemy. And a Ranger we saw getting up into 6th ahead of Daz. Daz just crossed the line. He hasn't gone any faster. And Koikarp in making his way up towards the line. And Uncle B a little bit further back from them guys, isn't he? He is. So let's keep an eye on Koikarp as he comes up across the line. And what can he produce? It's not going to be any faster, is it? No. So Uncle B is the man we're watching at the moment. The next man to cross the line to see if he can get himself ahead of Digital. The last sector we saw he went across. He had a green, which means his own personal best. And he's only just 600 shy of Digital Blasphemy. What can he do as he crosses the line? No, 2/10 down on his best. And that's it. It's the time over. The time's over. So Skyjacker is getting another bite at the cherry, as is Matt Psycho. Shiren also, but Shiren's fuel is very low. We'll see. He's coming up at the final part of the track. And it's do or die for Shiren, all or nothing, in this final sector of the track to try and grab himself that pole. He's had a taste of it. Can he get it back? I cannot tell by his time as he goes through the chicane. He's got to find 2/10 a little. Oh, and I think his fuel went just before the line. That is heartbreak for the Russian sensation there. What a shame. So, Skyjacker coming through the chicane. The last one, possibly. And he doesn't go any faster. So, what can Matt Psycho do at the moment? We've got Daz out there as well, having a run. And here comes Matt. Is he going to steal pole right at the end here? And he, very nearly does. Look at that. Absolutely very close. So, we've got Daz still on a run out here. And what is he? I think his time doesn't look great going into the chicane. But he could better his own position as he heads towards the line. And he stays in 7th. He stays in 7th. Uncle B has done Koikarp. Koikarp on a final run. He could be the last man on track. It looks like he is, to try and get a time here. He's got to find around about a 10th, no, 9/10 to find a way past Daz as he heads towards the line, and he does not find it. Unfortunate. So that is your order. Skyjacker, Matt Psycho, Sharen, Digital Blasphemy, Uncle B, Darren, Ranger, Daz, and then Koikarp. And Matt Psycho says, wow, that is a close one. 100th of a second between him and Skyjacker. It's a tight call out there. And I'm not sure how Skyjacker's going to play this. If he's going to ask them all to exit at the beginning. Mama Sykes in the chat saying nice. So I'm not sure if Skyjacker's going to ask them all to exit, as Electric doesn't look like he entered into the race, so he must be added to the back. But that is the grid so far, and we will see at the beginning of this. I think Electric didn't leave the room. I didn't notice Electric leaving the room. So I'm guessing that the host will ask everyone to exit. Unfortunately, it's lovely if it just runs straight on. But, I mean, it's not happened. Electric was meant to enter and just sit into the pits. There you go. So, yes, everyone's asked to exit. So Electric can be added. In all fairness, Electric never has had a penalisation before, so probably didn't realise how it works. Probably just thought he wasn't meant to enter at all, but you're meant to enter, sit into the pits for 15 minutes, and then it's you just put to the back then for not setting a time. Is he in the room? Yeah, there he is. So there we go. He's going to set the grid by the host. And Matt Psycho, unbelievable pace, he thinks, out there between Skyjacker and Sharen. And Mama Sykes saying, good luck, guys. Can't wait. Cannot wait. So Electric typing as he's being asked to enter, as is Daz. Here we go. He says I should have stayed in the pits. you should have done, but it's all good. It's all good. That's why we have our man Skyjacker as host, because he is the smoothest of the hosts out there. Electric having a quick practice, and Skyjacker now starting the final. And this is going to be 60 minutes of furious racing out there. And it's going to be a right treat for us out here in the YouTube land. As I down my warm beverage, sorry if there was any gulping. I was in a rush. Oof. So there we go. And here we go, waiting for the lights to change here at Spa. 60 minutes of beautiful racing at the Spa-Francorchamps, and it looks like a great getaway from all involved. Yes, super there. Skyjacker maintaining that lead, but it looks like Matt Psycho's getting a good run on him as they go through Le Sourd. And Skyjacker still leading Shiren. Looks like he's just edged it on Mr. Psycho. Mr. Psycho out there wide, and it looks like Digital Blasphemy's trying to make a move on Matt Psycho, but Matt Psycho sticks it in there still, but Matt Psycho wide through a Rouge. He's lost the position now to Digital Blasphemy. It's all very tight out there, and Uncle B as well trying to come through. Skyjacker getting away quite nicely with Shiren in second. Digital Blasphemy moving up into third. He looks to be wanting to make a move on Shiren, with Matt Psycho there also up the inside of those guys trying to make a move, and they're all in a pack as they move along. Uncle B on the outside of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho dropping down to fifth, but we know Matt Psycho, he's a great racer. He'll probably be doing that on purpose to save fuel. Skyjacker then, Digital Blasphemy up into second place. What a start from Digital Blasphemy, with Shiren down into third now. Uncle B moving up into fourth. Matt Psycho he got off the line. Great, he really did. He was just off the line going through Le Sourd, and a couple of them tried to squeeze up the inside of him. And now he's found himself in fifth place. Ranger in sixth, with Daz in seventh. Koikarp in eighth, being harassed by Electric. He's looking for a way past the Koikarp, one way or the other. He's trying one way or another. I'm gonna find you. Ooh, a little knock to let Koi know he's there. Koi holds fast though. Skyjacker still leading from Digital Blasphemy, with Shiren, the Russian sensation, in third place. Uncle B trying to fend off the attacks of Matt Psycho in fourth and fifth. Ranger not far behind in sixth, with Daz in seventh, keeping track of these guys. And remember, Daz is one of the best at keeping that fuel in a great state, while Koikarp fends off Electric. Electric trying to find a way past the Koikarp at the moment. He's all up in his grill, trying to find a bit of space to get through. Skyjacker then leads them through the bus stop chicane to carry on, starting a lap 2 with Digital Blasphemy, last week's winner, doing a cracking job there in second, with Shiren in third. Matt Psycho has found a way. He's found a way past Uncle B now. UBD down into fifth, whilst Matt Psycho probably burning up a bit more fuel than he'd rather, trying to make that overtake move early doors. He likes to get in front early doors, is Matt Psycho, get track position and then do his fuel saving, but at the moment he might have to waste a bit of fuel trying to catch the guys ahead of him. Ranger and UBD and Daz all in the same vicinity, trying to get something on the go. UBD's dropped back into seventh spot now, with Ranger and Daz making the moves. And UBD there, an unusual mistake possibly. Maybe he went a little wide, touched the grass a little bit, but UBD down to seventh, with Koikarp now trying to have a look up the inside, and Koi can't make that one stick. And he's there giving it all he can against the Pink Beetle for now. And Skyjacker leads from Digital Blasphemy. Shiren in third place, but we are watching the other end of the pack as Electric, Koikarp and UBD battle it out. UBD now going on the attack to Daz. Daz trying to save fuel, I assume. And there UBD back on the attack, with Daz trying to place his car perfectly to stop the Pink Beetle making its way through. Ranger managing to pull out a bit of a gap on Daz at the moment, 1.5 seconds, and he's 2.2 seconds behind Matt Psycho, who is chasing down the Russian sensation in third place. Digital Blasphemy trying to keep up with a Skyjacker, and this is gonna be going against all of their instincts here at Spa. A very fast track, long sprawling straights, with which uses up the fuel quite nicely, and these guys, they've got to play that balancing act between fuel. Shiren's under attack. Matt Psycho has gone up into third place, so Matt Psycho has decided to burn that fuel. He's found it better to go for track position over fuel saving. Shiren though sitting right behind Matt, ready to pounce again, maybe in Le Sourd. He's looking, he's going around, but no, he's staying behind. And let's get on board with Shiren as they head up towards Eau Rouge. A scary corner by any one's imagination. There you go, they go through. Look at the sparks flying off of the Beetle of Matt Psycho, and that is one of the most beautiful corners in the world. As they head on through, Ranger is up into 5th place. Sorry, go through all the buttons. Ranger now in 5th place ahead of Daz. Electric has made it past Uncle B and Koikar. So Electric opting to go for position rather than fuel. You can see UB and Koi saving a bit more fuel than Electric. Electric down to half a tank already. Daz also trying to save on that fuel, whereas Electric down to half a tank already. And Skyjacker is only 3/10 ahead of Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy closing in on the Monster Beetle, looking to get his 2nd win of the season. He's in a championship fight with Matt Psycho, in all fairness. So yes, I imagine he's going to be going for it. Matt Psycho trying to stay with him. And like I said, a balancing act between fuel and speed. Mama Sykes in the chat saying, foot down, Matt. He certainly is. He's made up 2 places already. A Ranger doing a cracking job also in 5th place, 2 seconds ahead of Daz, 2 seconds behind Shiren. Shiren also, he's a second behind Matt now. You want to stay quite close, try and save some fuel by getting in the slipstream. It can save your fuel. Skyjacker at the moment is looking to get a win himself this season, it looks like. And Digital Blasphemy keeping track of him all the way. He's having a look at that big gap up the side of Skyjacker, but he's just too far back. Car 22 versus car 99 as they come across the line for the 3rd time and start their 4th lap. And we are a good 7 minutes deep into this 60-minute race. And these guys are just over half a tank of fuel, with Matt Psycho as well. Similar fuel load. Shiren's doing the best with fuel at the moment out of the top 4. Ranger similar to the top 2. Daz as well, similar as Ranger. Electric just under half a tank, with Uncle B trying to stave off Koikar. Koikar going for the move though. Koikar in Eau Rouge, fancying his chances, but Uncle B keeping hold of that position. We've seen some cracking races between Daz and Uncle B, Darren. The battle of the Dazzers. And I think it'll come back to Uncle B at the moment. I think he's doing a bit of fuel saving as Koikar tries to make the move up the inside, and he makes it stick. So Koikar now up into 8th. And Uncle B sitting at the back of the pack. And I believe Uncle B practicing a little bit of fuel saving out there as Digital Blasphemy is through. Sorry, I apologise. Digital Blasphemy has made the move on Skyjacker. And this is very interesting. But Skyjacker looks like he's coming back on Digital Blasphemy. They're side by side as they head up towards the corner with no name. And in towards, after that corner, in towards Pouin. Is it Pouin? No, Stavelot, sorry. I'm in the wrong, different part of the track. That was Campus. Then Stavelot. And Paul Ruffriere. And now along Blanchimont, these two battling it out in the lead. Lovely stuff there. The DB4M car versus the Monster. The battle of the Black Beetles. Oh, Digital Blasphemy out wide there. He's got himself ahead on the track. He's got to watch that. You can't gain an advantage off track. And Ranger up into 4th. Matt Psycho dropping down. Matt Psycho, after getting the fastest lap, has dropped a position there to Ranger, but possibly it might be just easing off of that accelerator to try and save fuel, as Ranger moves himself up into 4th and on the attack with the Russian sensation of Shiren. While Skyjacker is back ahead of Digital Blast for me. And we are coming up to the 10-minute mark in this race. And these two similar fuel loads on half a tank of fuel. And Shiren also on half a tank of fuel. Ranger going for it though, just under half a tank of fuel. He feels he's saved enough fuel. He's going for it now. Matt Psycho not too far behind him also. And it's 3 wide. They're both going past Shiren. And Matt Psycho wants to make the move on him, under braking. My word, that was brave from Matt Psycho. He's gone a little wide, but he's kept hold of it. He's still there. And Matt Psycho, what a move for third place on Ranger. Cracking stuff from Matt Psycho, very late on the brakes, very brave in his Beetle. He understands his car underneath him, and he put a lot of faith in that Beetle when he braked into that corner. Sharon then dropping down to 5th place. This is a mixed bag here between 3rd, 4th and 5th, swapping places all the way around. Daz there all on his own in 6th. He's 3. Oh, Daz making a small mistake on the curbs, and Electric is on his way, so Daz has got to be careful. He's got a little damage there as Electric blasts on by, but Electric is burning through his fuel like it is free. And there, Daz there, still holding on to a bit of fuel, with Koikarp not too far behind, making a race of it, and Uncle B not too far behind those guys either. What a little battle. We've got a pocket battle here between Electric, Daz, Koikarp and Uncle B down here in 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Unbelievable stuff. But Skyjacker, he cannot shake Digital Blasphemy off at the moment. Matt Psycho, he's some 5 seconds behind him. What's he got up his sleeve? He's got less fuel than those guys. Matt a little heavier on his right foot in this race. We've seen him do some absolutely cracking fuel saving, but in this race he seems to have forgotten his fuel saving motto, and now he is burning through it. Ranger in 4th. He's just over a quarter of a tank of fuel, with Sharon just under half a tank of fuel, so Sharon still staying with it. There you go, Electric going in. That's how much he's used the fuel up as he goes into the pits. And Daz moves up into 6th place ahead of, well, Koikarp and Uncle B all staying out. They've still got a few laps of fuel in that car yet, while Electric goes in and tops up. But Skyjacker and Digital Blasphemy, you can't break them up, these pair. Look at them sticking together like glue, both of them just over a quarter of a tank. It looks like Skyjacker's got a little more fuel on board than Digital Blasphemy. Matt Psycho in 3rd, similar fuel load though, a little less than these two, but nothing to brag about, I imagine. Ranger there in 4th, trying to chase down Matt Psycho. He's on a quarter of a tank of fuel as well. Sharon, absolutely unbelievable fuel saving from the Russian out there. He's got a great amount of fuel on board. He's doing a super job. He's only 8.5 seconds behind the leader, which is just a fraction of a pit stop. If we go and look at Electric, we see how much it's nearly 40-50 seconds for a pit stop around here. So yeah, saving fuel is fuel is absolutely gold dust here, and Sharon seems to be doing the best of that. Digital Blasphemy still making his way around. We're not even at the 3 stops every 15 minutes possibly is what these guys will be looking at. If Sharon can squeeze that fuel out even longer, then bully for him. A 2 stop is around about 20 minutes. And that could be what Sharon is looking at, really. If he can get that fuel to last another 6.5 minutes, he'll be in the money. Whereas I think Matt, Digital Blasphemy and Skyjacker will be looking to make a pit stop on the next lap around, possibly. They're a quarter of a tank at the moment. Skyjacker still trying to stay with Digital Blasphemy all of the way around. Matt Psycho closing the gap between them guys. It was 4.3 seconds last time around. We'll keep an eye on that. Ranger is within 2 seconds of Matt Psycho, but his fuel is a lot lower. He'll be pitting definitely on the next lap. Sharon still over a quarter of a tank of fuel, but he's now 10 seconds off the leaders, but it's 40 seconds a pit stop, remember. So even Sharon just stays within 30 seconds of the leader and saves a pit stop. He is laughing. Interesting stuff. Daz there in 6th place. He's lower on fuel. His tyres are starting to burn out, and he's got a good 2.5 seconds on Koikarp behind him. Koikarp, similar fuel load, similar tyre wear, with Uncle B only 1.4 seconds. These are all on similar fuel loads, but Electric now 38 seconds adrift of Uncle B, but he's got a full car and he can go full beans. Digital Blasphemy then leading the way from Skyjacker. And yes, Matt Psycho starting to close that gap. I think he's going to go for the 3-stopper, which will be every 15 minutes as he tries to close the gap on himself and Skyjacker. 3.5 seconds are behind now. Skyjacker seems to be eking it out a bit. Maybe he's worried about Shiren trying to just make a 2-stopper out of this race. He's 12 seconds away from the leader now is Shiren, and he is boxing smart, and he really is a quarter of a tank with 15-minute mark. If he can get to 20 minutes, Shiren is absolutely laughing. Digital Blasphemy, he may have another lap left in that car, possibly. Go to about 17 minutes, probably try and save in the next stint, who knows. Skyjacker also, similar fuel loads to Digital Blasphemy. He's 1.2 seconds behind. And Matt Psycho definitely going to be pitting at the end of this lap. Ranger also pitting at the end of this lap. Shiren, I still think, has got a few laps left in that car yet. And there goes Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy has pitted, Skyjacker hasn't. Interesting stuff then. So Skyjacker trying to get another lap or two out of this car with the 3 behind him all pitting. 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Shiren going further in the race. I think he's going to push it for a 2-stopper. I really do. I've got a feeling Shiren is going to go 2-stop in this race. Ranger, Daz, Matt Psycho, Uncle B's joined them, and Koikap. So the rest of the field all pitting apart from Skyjacker and Shiren. Electric, what's Electric doing? He might close gap quite a lot. And he's a little bit far back though. Some of these guys are going to be out of the pits before him. Matt Psycho, he's there now topping up. And Digital Blasphemy topping up. It's a battle of the pit crew at the moment. There goes Digital Blasphemy. Matt Psycho yet to move. So Digital Blasphemy is on his way out. He's onto the track. He didn't top up. He's short-filled. Interesting stuff from Digital Blasphemy. But still, it's a 45-minute pit stop, pretty much. Skyjacker then, his fuel is flashing. Shiren. Look at him go. Look at his fuel tank. Unbelievable stuff from the Russian sensation. It's looking like he's got this one all tied up. Early doors. We'll see though. It's a long way to go. Matt Psycho did top right up with fuel there. He's lost about 8 seconds to Digital Blasphemy. But Digital Blasphemy, that's going to be a short stint for him unless he's going to do some absolute major fuel saving. Ranger back out on track, 4.5 seconds behind Matt Psycho. Electric did jump Daz, Koi and Uncle B, so that early stop from Electric has jumped him up a few spaces. Daz out there in 7th place with Koikap in 8th and Uncle B right on Koikap's case right now, and that's a battle royale there with Koikap versus Uncle B. Cracking stuff out there with Uncle B. Shall we get on board with UBD there to see his craft as he tries to chase down the VRC liveried Beetle? A little slide there. Skyjacker only just getting to the pits, and it looks like Shiren is carrying on. Shiren, he's still got a bit of fuel there, and he is carrying on. Shiren, he might make this a 2-stopper. Unbelievable stuff. Can Skyjacker get out before Digital Blasphemy gets around? And I think that's why Digital Blasphemy short-filled. He didn't want Skyjacker to get the jump on him. Matt Psycho, only 6.6 seconds. He's pulled back 2 seconds on Digital Blasphemy on this outlap. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you. Oh, gosh. So, Digital Blasphemy, where's Skyjacker? He's still topping up. Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho, both on the start straight, but the pits kick out after Lesaur. And, oh, there he goes. So, there goes Skyjacker. He's on the move. Digital Blasphemy just going past the pit exit. It looks like Digital Blasphemy, the short fill has worked for Digital Blasphemy. Skyjacker gets back on track, but Matt Psycho's got the momentum. Matt Psycho's got the momentum, but Skyjacker just ahead of him. And this is absolutely very tight indeed out there. And I think these guys are realising, I think they might be realising Shiren is going for the 2-stopper. Shiren really eking out the fuel tank. We're at 19.5 minutes of the 60-minute race. And Shiren yet to get to the pits. He's got a long lap on him with that fuel flashing away. Digital Blasphemy a cracking job in second, but he did short fill. He's not going to be able to stay out as long as Skyjacker and Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho pushing ever on to try and catch up with Skyjacker, and this is some awesome racing we've got going out there. Ranger 5.5 seconds behind them. He's 10 seconds ahead of Electric. Electric though, he's under half a tank of fuel, with Daz, Koikarp and Uncle B all chasing him down. Uncle B dropping back from Koikarp. They were having a good old ones and twos earlier, but UBD dropping back a little bit, probably to save fuel. Daz closing the gap on the Irishman ahead of him, whilst Electric, no fuel save whatsoever. He's just going to try and do it with pit stops. Cracking stuff. So Sharon, he's got just fumes as he enters into the chicane, and he pops it into the pits. He's 20 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy. It's around 40 seconds a pit stop, but if he's doing one pit stop less, he's going to be up. And Digital Blasphemy making his way around. He's 6 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, who's only 6/10 ahead of Matt Psycho. On board with Matt Psycho, as he can see the Monster Beetle just ahead of him. And this is a cracking little race we've got there, as Sharon sits in the pits to top back up. We have Digital Blasphemy in the lead by some 7 seconds at the moment. And Matt Psycho is in the tow of Skyjacker, but I imagine he might be using that tow to try and save a bit of fuel. See how he really short shifts there, Mr. Psycho? So he can just say he travels under the steam of Skyjacker, catching up with Skyjacker there. Skyjacker turning his engine down possibly. He's probably thinking, hey, I'm not helping you. So Matt Psycho blasts past Skyjacker, and Skyjacker thinks, yeah, it's my turn. And these two helping each other out with the fuel economy around here for the VDUB Bug Enduro Cup. Round 5, over halfway. Matt Psycho is your championship leader, but Digital Blasphemy is giving it a good go. He's having a go. He's trying to catch up. At the moment, Matt Psycho has got that fastest lap, as Skyjacker sitting right on the bumper of Matt Psycho all the way around. It's a great way of saving fuel if you can find someone who's fast enough not to slow you down, and that is definitely what Matt Psycho is. Definitely fast enough to not slow you down. So Skyjacker doing a bit of a fuel economy called Matt Psycho, whilst Matt Psycho punches a massive hole in the air in front of him for Skyjacker just to drive through with no resistance, and gets to save a good old wad of fuel, sitting behind the Psycho, whilst Ranger there in 4th place doing a super job. Sharon come out in 7th. He's 32 seconds behind the leader. Now he's got to be careful not to let that drop to 40 seconds and then his 2-stop just does not work. His pit stop was quite long, no, about 42 seconds his pit stop was. So yeah, he's got to maintain that. He's got to maintain next to his name there in red. You see 32.5. He's got to try not letting that drop over 40, and then his two-stop strategy goes out of the window. As a Digital Blasphemy gets the fastest lap, he's out there all on his own. He's 7 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho towing a Skyjacker along, and Matt Psycho on half a tank of fuel with Skyjacker on 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So Skyjacker doing a lovely fuel save at the moment. Electric's had to pop into the pits. He's low on fuel, so Sharon moves up into 6th place. Koikarp goes through as well into 7th. UBD in 8th. And they are virtually the same of fuel at the moment out there in 7th and 8th place. Daz on half a tank of fuel, trying to chase Ranger down. Ranger's about 12 seconds ahead of him, and Sharon 34 seconds behind the leader. Like I said, he's got to try and keep it within 40. That'll be the pit stop that he's not making, that Digital Blasphemy will have to make. He's Digital Blasphemy well under half a tank of fuel now. He's going for it, I think. Matt Psycho is just on half a tank of fuel, with Skyjacker on 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Skyjacker, oh, Matt Psycho's gone a little wide. Matt Psycho's gone a little wide there, giving Skyjacker the opportunity to get back ahead. And maybe Matt Psycho thinks, yep, you've got more fuel than me, I'm going to save off you for a bit. So Skyjacker out there on his own now, although Matt Psycho's dropped out of the tow zone. And a Ranger there in 4th. He's 11 seconds behind those guys. And 10 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz and Ranger, exactly the same amount of fuel. Whoosh. We'll have a look at Ranger's helmet. Very nice. And then Daz. Whoosh. Very nice. With the Scottish colours for Daz, as he makes his way around in his Beetle. But at the moment, it's Digital Blasphemy out there blazing the way forward in first place. Shiren could be on a very tactical, good race at the moment. 35 seconds behind the leader, but the leader might be coming up, I'm guessing, in about 4 minutes. If they're free stopping these guys at the front, that will be when they pit, in around about half the 30-minute mark. Skyjacker, he's there towing Matt Psycho along. Matt's decided to try and save some fuel. Maybe they'll help each other and do a bit of bump drafting. But at the moment, Skyjacker just over half a tank of fuel, just under half from Matt. So Matt has saved quite a bit, sitting behind the Skyjacker, doing the job he needs to do. A Ranger in 4th. A solid race from Ranger here in the Beetles. Ahead of Daz. Daz doing a cracking job with the fuel. He's same as Ranger though. Shiren is the man I think we've got to keep our eye on. He's 35 seconds behind the leader, but he's really eking out that fuel. He's got 3/4 of a tank on board, and I think he's going to be aiming for not to pit for another 12 minutes or so. Koikarp in 7th ahead of UBD, and Electric back out after his second stop, chasing after the guys ahead of him. He is just burning through the fuel. I don't think there's any fuel save going on in that Beetle there whatsoever. Digital Blasphemy just dropping under the 1/4 of a tank position. He's done a 13.9, which is the fastest of the race. Did a 14.4 his last time around, going wide through there. Skyjacker in the 15s. Matt Psycho, he's done a 14 and a 16, but that might have been the lap he went a little wide on. And yes, he's sitting in that tow zone of Skyjacker. Skyjacker pulling Matt Psycho along quite nicely. And Matt Psycho sitting just behind, trying to save fuel from the monster Beetle ahead of him. A Ranger coming around that final corner in 4th place. He's on a similar strategy to Daz, who's behind him. He's got 9 seconds on Daz at the moment, and he's holding fast. Shiren looks to be catching up Daz as well. So maybe Daz trying to turn his engine down. Shiren does a 15.7 his last time around. Daz did a 17, so he lost a bit of time on that lap. So did Ranger. So maybe these guys trying to eke out their cars a little bit. Trying to eke out their cars. And Shiren maintaining that 34, 35 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy, he's going to have to be into the pit soon. Possibly at the end of this lap. Remember, he's short-filled as well. Matt Psycho is back ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker now getting a tow from the Matt Psycho. These two seem to be working in unison together to save fuel, but Matt Psycho's down to a 1/4 of a tank, with Skyjacker on half a tank. And if we look at Shiren just over half a tank, so Skyjacker may have saved some fuel, so he doesn't have to pit. Interesting stuff. Skyjacker, I think, may have changed his strategy there, knowing that Shiren is going for a 2-stopper, and maybe he's altered his strategy somewhat. Instead of chasing Digital Blasphemy, whose fuel is now flashing, Digital Blasphemy is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. Matt Psycho, he's got a quarter of a tank. He's still got a couple more laps in that car. And he's trying to pull away from Skyjacker. He probably doesn't want to keep giving Skyjacker a tow. He's helping him out. It's 9 tenths. I've heard 8 tenths is where the sweet spot is for the tow. So Skyjacker might have just about dropped out of the tow now. And now Skyjacker is all on his own as Digital Blasphemy drops into the pits. Matt Psycho goes around for another tour, as does Skyjacker. And that Digital Blasphemy, he might have shot his gun a little too early there. He might have gone off a little too fast. And Ranger in fourth, he's going in. Will Daz follow him in, or has Daz saved enough to carry on for another lap? He has. He's going for another lap. He's trying to get one on Ranger at the moment. We are at that 30-minute mark for the 3-stop strategy. Shiren then back up into 4th place. Half a tank of fuel on Shiren's car. Skyjacker just under half a tank. Shiren is doing a cracking job. He's got that lead back down to 26 seconds, remember, because Digital Blasphemy has been into the bits. He's coming back out. Koikarp also a quarter of a tank. He's done a great strategy. But I think Digital comes back out in 5th behind Shiren by 8 seconds. Full tank of fuel on the racing softs. And it's like a game of chess. It really is. The strategy is strong in these riders. With Koikarp, Uncle B has gone in with Ranger. Ranger comes back out on track. It says Electric's up to 7th, but he's only just crossing the line. So Ranger now in 7th place. And his battle is with Daz today. Daz up into 3rd at the moment. His fuel is flashing though. He's going to have to go in soon. He's 3.5 seconds ahead of Shiren. Shiren on half a tank of fuel. Matt Psycho, he's on the fumes at the moment. He's getting low on fuel. He's going to have to pit soon. Skyjacker, he's maintained that fuel very well indeed. But is it enough? He might be able to. He squeezed it out in that stint. Maybe he could squeeze it out a little bit more in the next stint and turn this into a 2-stop strategy. And Daz, he's going to be pitting at the end of this lap. Shiren, he's still got a good 10 minutes or so left in that car. Shiren. I toast thee, Shiren. I hold my whiskey up to you, my friend. You've done an absolute blinder at the moment, although Skyjacker has got track position on you, and I think he is changing his strategy to a 2-stopper. Matt Psycho has gone in. So Matt Psycho has gone in, and I don't think he's going to be able to make that fuel last for the rest of this race. We've got 27.5 minutes left to go, and Skyjacker has done a wonderful job saving his fuel in that last stint, trying to eke it out. So he only has to do one more stop. Daz is going to disappear into the pits. It's Ranger Daz is looking out for. And as it is, Ranger out there making his way around. Koikarp, I believe, possibly could be coming in. Koikarp really using those tyres up to full effect. So Matt Psycho and Daz into the pits. And is Koikarp going to go for another tour? No, he's decided to go in. Koikarp making the stop. So a Ranger, he wants to jump a couple of positions here, get ahead of Daz and Koikarp possibly. Electric has made the move on UBD, but UBD has got the full tank of fuel on board, with Electric down to a quarter of a tank. Skyjacker and Shiren out there. And Skyjacker's got 26 seconds. So if Skyjacker, he's really done an amazing job, really, Skyjacker. If he's altered his pit strategy, he pitted at the 15th minute mark where everyone else did. And he's looking like he's really strung his car out in this middle section to try and copy Shiren's. Shiren is still got just over a quarter of a tank of fuel on board. Skyjacker just under a quarter of a tank, but Skyjacker's got 26 seconds on Shiren. And what looked like a slam dunk for Shiren is now becoming very difficult because of Skyjacker. Digital Blasphemy back out there again. He's up into 3rd ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho looked like he short-filled that one. So I don't know. I can't get it. I'll just top the car right up, but Ranger has jumped Daz. He's ahead of Daz, but Daz is on a full tank of fuel, where Ranger now is just under 3/4. Electric up into 7th, but he's going to have to pit again pretty soon, with Koikart out there on a full tank, only 1.8 seconds ahead of Uncle B. So very good strategies throughout the field here. They've all got their own battles on their hands. And Skyjacker, oh, hats off to Skyjacker. I think he's Shiren had himself a little two-stopper on the cards here, and I think Skyjacker has altered his strategy. I think he was going 3 stops, as is Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho, and I think Skyjacker has realised what Shiren's playing at, and he's changed his strategy. I'm sure of it. I'm almost 100% sure of it. So Skyjacker eking that car out as long as he can to try and match Shiren's pit stops, with Digital Blasphemy 4.7 seconds behind Shiren, catching him up. And it's intriguing. It's very intriguing how this one is going to play out, with Matt Psycho chasing down Digi. He's some 7.3 seconds behind him. A Ranger there, 17 seconds behind them, 12 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz, though, a lot more fuel on board. Electric is coming into the pits for his 3rd stop. So Koi and UB will be going by him. And this is a very interesting battle between UBD and Koikart. Koikart with more fuel on board than UBD, possibly just one more stop between the two of them. But Koikart can go a little deeper into the race. Skyjacker 25.3 seconds ahead of Shiren. His fuel is just starting to flash now, with Shiren just under the 1/4 of a tank of fuel. Shiren doing a 17 and a 16 the last 2 times around. Skyjacker a 15 and a 17. Whew. Digital Blasphemy, he's in the 14s again. He's staying solid with his 3-stop strategy, and perhaps he can catch up the 2-stoppers. And Matt Psycho only 7. He's catching up with a DB. DB for me, ahead of him. And they're burning through the fuel. So Skyjacker into the pits. He's come into the pits, so Shiren should easily take over the lead of this race, and he will be aiming for the 40-minute mark, or just over the 40-minute mark, to make his 2nd stop of the race. And Shiren really eking out his fuel. Digital Blasphemy catching him up, hand over fist. But it's not about track position today. It's about how little you spend in them pits, because it is a long pit stop. And Shiren then takes over the lead of the race. Digital Blasphemy nearly down to half a tank of fuel, with Matt Psycho on similar levels as Digital Blasphemy. Skyjacker into the pits. A Ranger only just getting up to the chicane at the end of the lap. And Daz 10 seconds behind a Ranger at the moment. And Skyjacker out of the pits in 4th place. He's 8.4 seconds behind Matt Psycho, 17 seconds behind Shiren, but Shiren still has a pit stop to make. His fuel is flashing now, and I think Shiren's realised his strategy might not be working against Skyjacker. Oh dear. So Digital Blasphemy closing the gap. He's down to 1.2 seconds between him and Shiren, the Russian sensation out there. His fuel's flashing. And by the end of the lap, though, he will be at the 20-minute mark for just a 2-stopper, with Matt Psycho on half a tank of fuel. Digital Blasphemy on half a tank of fuel. Skyjacker full whack of fuel now. Is he going to try and take that all the way to the end of the race? I mean, he stopped at the 15-minute mark, or 16, maybe 18 minutes we'll give him. So he has done a stint that long. Oh my lord, I can't call this. I can't call this. It's going to be extremely tight. So Shiren, he's losing time, hand over fist to Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy burning through that fuel like it was given to him for nothing. Oh, a little step out from Digital Blasphemy's Beetle there. Absolutely delicious, I love it. So sitting on board with a DB for me as he chases down a Shiren. And this one is a humdinger, of course, around here at Spa. He's going for that outside line on Blanchimont. And he's got all side by side through there. Shiren not giving an inch of space to Digital Blasphemy, but Digital Blasphemy still makes it through. And back into the lead of this race as Shiren disappears into the pits. But he's got Skyjacker to be concerned about now. And Skyjacker making his way around, 17 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy. But I don't believe Skyjacker is planning on making another stop, where Digital Blasphemy is going to have to make another stop, as is a Matt Psycho. And this is an intriguing little battle. So Skyjacker is now only 16 seconds off of the lead. With less than 20 minutes left of a racing, and this is going to be so tight. Ranger, he's just above a quarter of a tank of fuel. He's racing Daz today. Daz is on half a tank of fuel. He's not closing that gap, but I suppose he's hoping to go a lot longer than Ranger and take a shorter pit stop on that final pit stop that those guys are going to have. Here comes Shiren back out onto track in 6th place. 43 seconds. It's 44 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy. So, I said he needed to stay within 40 seconds of Digital Blasphemy. He may have just lost the lead of this race from Digital Blasphemy. The pendulum has swung back to DB4M and Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho trying to close the gap on Digital Blasphemy. Skyjacker there, 11, nearly 12 seconds behind those guys. And again, Shiren and Skyjacker, I don't think, plan on making another stop in this race, where Digital Blasphemy does. But Shiren now 45 seconds behind the leader. He could pit and get back out ahead of Shiren. And I imagine he's planning on making his pit stop with 15 minutes remaining, and he's got a fair whack of fuel in that, so maybe he's going to try and eke that car out to as late in the race as he possibly can, just to take a quick short stop. Interesting stuff. Matt Psycho closing the gap on Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy still got the fastest lap of the race so far, and I can't call it. Skyjacker seems to be sitting in a good position right now, with it being 17 seconds behind Digi. But Digi, he seems to be fuel saving now. We think we saw him do this last time. He burnt through that fuel early on in the race, and then later on, after he got the track position, he sort of just sat there and managed to save a bit of fuel and went on to win the race. But now he's saving fuel. You've got Matt Psycho catching him up. They're both on exactly the same amounts of fuel. I don't think they can get to the end of the race on that fuel, so they will have to pit, with a Skyjacker on 3/4 of a tank of fuel. He's got track position on Shiren, who we don't believe is going to pit also. I honestly can't call this one. Ranger and Daz, they're getting closer together. 8 seconds now. It's gone from 10 seconds to 8.6 seconds. Daz is just in his fastest lap of the race with a 2:15.1, trying to close the gap on a Ranger out there. Ranger is on less than a quarter of a tank of fuel, with Daz just over a quarter. The battle there between Koikarp and UBD, there's 4 seconds between them, and Koi has got a lot more fuel on UBD, so I think Koi has got UBD beat today. Electric on half a tank of fuel. I don't know if that's going to get him all the way to the end. He might have to take another stop there for the Irishman. And Digital Blasphemy, the time is dropping every single corner between him and Matt Psycho. I think Matt Psycho is going in for the kill. He's doing it for the thrill. So yes, Matt Psycho starting to close that gap to Digital Blasphemy. And Matt Psycho now going in for that decisive moment to take the lead of the race as he closes the gap on Digi. Digi, all he can do is what he can do. I think he's trying to fuel save at the moment. He's gone from 14s to 15, and now he did a 16.4 his last time around, where Matt Psycho's in the 14s, and it's tight stuff between these two competitors. Digital Blasphemy holding out there for a hero. whilst Matt Psycho closes the gap. They're both on exactly the same fuel, but the jeopardy is Skyjacker and what he can do with his fuel load. We're down to 15.5 minutes left of racing out there, and Ranger is going to have to come into the pits. Daz has still got a couple more laps left in that car, so we'll see Ranger disappear into the pits. Sharon will be picking up the pieces there. Coy is on half a tank of fuel, and UBD is down to a quarter of a tank. It's some tight stuff there between those guys, and there you go, Ranger into the pits for his third and final pit stop. Digital Blasphemy trying to go longer into the race. Matt Psycho hunting him down, 3.5 seconds virtually between the two of them. Now it's down to 3 seconds. That's how much DB4M has picked off the pace. He's coming off of that accelerator. He's trying to eke that fuel out as much as he can, but Matt Psycho closing in on him, car 16. He's really starting to wind in. It's less than 3 seconds now between the two front drivers. Skyjacker out there, can he make that fuel last all the way to the end? As Sharon, who we thought was on a good crack, at the moment he's having a rest down Blanchimont. Ghosted, I think he was lifting. I think that's lifting. So he's lifting to save fuel. Interesting stuff. He's 20 seconds ahead of Coy. Ranger's come out behind Coy there, full tank of fuel. And like I said, Ranger is racing Daz today. Daz now up into 4th place, but he's going to pit at the end of this lap. So Sharon will move up another spot. He's 50 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy, though. I think Digital Blasphemy has got the pit stop he needs on Sharon to get out ahead of Sharon, but the jeopardy has moved from Sharon to Skyjacker. But Skyjacker, it's going to be tight with fuel for him until the end of the race. Digital Blasphemy then dropping into the pits, and Matt Psycho's going to follow him in with only 2.7 seconds difference between them, both on exactly the same fuel. Skyjacker, can he make that fuel last till the end? Has he got 13 minutes worth of fuel in that car? Daz will be going into the pits, and Sharon has got a shed load of fuel on his car, but he's over 50 seconds behind the leaders. Oh my lord, it's too much. It's too much. My little brain, my little noggin can't take it. So Skyjacker crosses the line to take the lead of the race in this round 4 of the VDUB Bug Enduro Cup, and it is a brain teaser. It really is. It's worse than Sudoku. So Skyjacker then out there leading the way. Daz has gone into the pit, so Sharon will move up into 2nd place. The 2 stoppers in this race. And now first, and no, Digital Blasphemy does get out ahead of Sharon. I was worried that Sharon didn't pull out enough time, and Matt Psycho also gets out ahead of Sharon. And there they are, Digital Blasphemy, Matt Psycho. Sharon is nearly 7 seconds behind him, but he's got some fuel on board. We've got 12 minutes left of racing. Does Sharon have the fuel to burn? Then we see Ranger getting himself back ahead of Daz, and it looks like Koi Carp's managing it. Can he? Daz is in the pits at the moment, filling up, and Koi Carp going around that first corner. Daz still filling up, and he's caught up with Ranger. Lovely, hasn't he, as Koi Carp going a little bit later in the race. Well, Koi Carp's still not pitted. I don't think there's enough fuel there, though, to get to the end. So Koi Carp still may have to pit. Electric's into the pits at the moment. UBD pitted the lap before, and really, let's have a look. So Skyjacker, 17.3 seconds. He can really wind that car down. He's got 17.5 seconds to wind the car down and crawl for the next 11.5 minutes. Digital Blasphemy, he can't hang around, and he's got Matt Psycho breathing down his neck. Sharon, he can't afford to save fuel now. He's going to have to race. If he wants to grab them positions ahead of him, he's going to have to push. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. Salt and pepper, push it, but I couldn't remember the words. I only remember the ooh, baby, baby bit. I couldn't remember, push it. Oh, push it real good. Dun, 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 dun. So Skyjacker then 16 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy's got to get a shake on. He's got to try and cut down a lot of ground between him and Skyjacker. All the power is in Skyjacker's hands. And Matt Psycho, similar fuel load to Digital Blasphemy. He's got to chase down Digital Blasphemy. There's no fuel saving here between second and third place. Sharon on half a tank of fuel. Skyjacker on half a tank of fuel. This is so tight. Ranger back into fifth after Daz's pit stop. Koikarp still hasn't pitted yet. He's racing with Uncle B Darren at the moment. Uncle B Darren out there pushing as well if he wants to get himself back ahead of Koikarp. And we've got battles up and down the field, but at the moment all the power is in Skyjacker's hands. He's got it all on him. But can he make that half a tank of fuel last? He should do. He should do. Although some of them, they weren't making a full tank last 15 minutes. So it's a big ask. It's down to 13, down to 14 seconds between Digital Blasphemy and Skyjacker. Matt Psycho also hunting down the Monster Beetle. Sharon, I don't think there's anything he can do. He's on that two-stop strategy. And I just think that middle sector just wasn't fast enough for him between pit stops. And he's lost out to Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho. And I said track position wasn't everything. Well, it obviously was, because Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho gained the time they needed on Sharon to see him off. But Skyjacker played an absolute blinder. But is it going to work for him? We've still got less than 9 minutes, or just over 9 minutes to go in this race. It's down to 13 seconds. Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho have got to go like the clappers to try and catch up Skyjacker. Skyjacker's got to fuel save all the way to the flag. Ranger is only 5 seconds ahead of Koikarp, but Koikarp has not pitted yet. But Ranger isn't that much further ahead of Daz. Daz is only 1.6 seconds behind Koi, but Koi is racing UBD today. UBD down there in 8th place, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. And yeah, Koi is going to have to pit. He's done great saving that fuel, but he's going to pit at the end of this lap, and that'll put Daz back in fighting position with Ranger. Ranger just over half a tank of fuel. Daz is on 3/4 of a tank of fuel. He's caught up. Koikarp, lovely, as Koikarp tries to squeeze every last ounce of fuel out of that Beetle, and Daz is there. He's there, and he's coming past. Super stuff from Daz. Daz on another good run. But his race today is with Ranger, who's doing a super job. Skyjacker, meanwhile, still 12 seconds. He's still 12 seconds ahead. Digital Blasphemy isn't cutting down the time enough. He needs to be taking good chunks out of Skyjacker. He's got to be really chewing up that time between him. We're down to 7.5 minutes. And he's only taken about a second or so out of Skyjacker's lead. Matt Psycho, he's taken another second out of Digi's time. Koikarp has come into the pits, so Daz is 7 seconds behind Ranger. With a little bit more fuel on board to burn, can Daz really start cutting into Ranger's lead? Uncle B is the man we've got to watch. He's coming up Blanchemont whilst Koikarp is in the pits. Koikarp obviously doesn't have to take on a whole heap of fuel for the last 7 minutes of this race, so it's going to be a short stop, but he's only just got to his pit crew. And there is Uncle B just getting to the chicane, but don't forget he's got to get around La Source before Koikarp comes out. Koikarp's got the tyres changed. He's getting the fuel in there. It says Uncle B's ahead of him, but it's all down now. Koikarp's moving. It was a short fill. It was a short fill, half a tank. And Uncle B isn't even at La Source yet, and Koi is back on track. So Koi has won that battle. And he's some 5.75 seconds ahead of Uncle B. And Uncle B, he's going to have to pull out the stops now to try and catch up Koikarp. So Skyjacker, 9.4 seconds, another couple of seconds from Digital Blasphemy. We've got 6 minutes, over 6 minutes left of this race. And Matt Psycho trying to cut into Digital Blasphemy as well. 2 seconds between those guys. Sharon, he's not got nothing. He can't do it. He can't catch those guys up. But he had an absolutely cracking little strategy on the go there. And I feel bad for him in a way, because Skyjacker, I think, copied his strategy in the end. And it's worked for Skyjacker. Or has it? because he's only 7.5 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy now. He's just over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Digital Blasphemy just under half a tank of fuel. Matt Psycho just under half a tank of fuel, and he's closed another half a second on Digital Blasphemy. If Matt Psycho catches up Digital Blasphemy and them two start racing, Skyjacker will be a happy man, but it's down to 7 seconds now. Skyjacker really trying to eke out that fuel, and we've got 5.5 minutes left of racing. This is an intense ending to the race. Sharon some 18 seconds behind those guys, but he's 18 seconds ahead of Ranger, who's 6.5 seconds ahead of Daz, and Koikarp is 4 seconds ahead of Uncle B, and Electric, he just had one too many stops today, I'm afraid. 6 seconds now for Skyjacker as he leads this race. It's just dropped under 6 seconds. Digital Blasphemy, he's only 2 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. So even if he did want to back off, he can't, because he's got Matt Psycho breathing down his neck. And this is an intense ending to this battle. Digital Blasphemy still got the fastest lap with a 2:13.9. So that's a point in the bag. Skyjacker's got the point for the pole. Was it Skyjacker on pole? I think it was. It was so long ago, I can't remember. I believe it was. But Skyjacker, 5 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy, who's 2 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. They're pulling away from Sharon. Sharon's having to back off, I think, just to get to the end of this race. A Ranger, 4.7 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz starting to knuckle down on the Ranger out there. And it is a close battle between everyone. Uncle B trying to climb that 4-second gap between himself and Koikarp. He's gone faster than he's gone in this race before, a 2:16.1. And Koikarp might be under threat come the end of this race. 3.7 seconds now for Skyjacker. If he was Kimi Räikkönen, he'd be telling me not to tell him the times. But I've got to keep him informed. I've got to keep you all informed. And Digital Blasphemy's pulled another second out on Matt Psycho. Interesting. I don't know if Matt Psycho made a mistake on that lap, a 2:15.4 from Matt Psycho. Digital Blasphemy, a 2:14.2. Oh my word, this is a tight ending. So Skyjacker, they're all on similar fuel loads now. So Skyjacker, he doesn't have to save fuel. He must have enough fuel on board, because he's got the same as Digital Blasphemy and Matt Psycho. Digital Blasphemy 3 seconds behind Skyjacker. Matt Psycho 3.5 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy, and we've got 3 minutes to go. It's all in the power of 3. Sharon 20 seconds behind the leaders in 4th place. Ranger 3.7 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz trying to climb up the ladder to try and catch up with a Ranger. If Ranger making a small mistake coming out of the corner, a little too much power, he's gone sideways. But it doesn't matter, he's got 4 seconds on Daz. Daz must have backed off as well. Oh my word. Koikarp 4 seconds on Uncle B. And then we have Electric in 9th, which I think he just had too many pit stops today. But Skyjacker 2.3 seconds now. And this got to be the penultimate lap of this one. They'll cross the line and they'll have one more lap left. And Digital Blasphemy 2.3 seconds behind Skyjacker, 3.9 seconds behind ahead of Matt Psycho. With 2 minutes left of racing. And I couldn't be more wrong about Sharon's strategy. I thought he had it made when he was holding the leaders to 30 seconds on his 2-stop. But after his 2nd stop, he came out over 40 seconds behind them. And yeah, that's where the race was lost for Sharon, unfortunately. But Skyjacker had track position, changed it to a 2-stopper, but it's down to less than 2 seconds now as we come in to the final lap of the race. And this is going to be an absolute barnstorming last lap there. Skyjacker, there's no more fuel saving. He's got to pull out all the stops. Digital Blasphemy also has to pull it out of the bag. Matt Psycho seems to have dropped back. He was closing in on Digital Blasphemy. Did a 2:15 with Digital Blasphemy doing a 2:14.9. Skyjacker did a 2:16.9. And Skyjacker's fuel is starting to flash. Oh my lord, it's 1.5 seconds. Digital Blasphemy, is he going to get his 2nd win of the season? 2 in a row. Unbelievable stuff. Matt Psycho there in 3rd. He might be able to catch Skyjacker up as well. Skyjacker might have to just concede the win just to grab a podium here. He's definitely going to finish ahead of Shiren, but it's tight stuff. And Ranger, he's only 2.6 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz closing that gap on Ranger. What a race we have had here at Spa for round 5 of the VDUB Bug Enduro Cup. It's crazy stuff. 1.5 seconds between Ranger and Daz. Daz really closing in on them. And Koikar's pulled away. Oh no, Uncle B, he's running out of fuel as well. Unbelievable, but there's only 20 seconds on the clock, and I don't know if Koi and Uncle B will get across the line. Daz, though, has got across the line. He's going through a rouge, chasing down Ranger. How's Skyjacker looking? 6/10, and Skyjacker's fuel, but then Ranger, Digital Blasphemy's fuel's flashing as well, and so is Matt Psycho's. Oh my word. So are they even going to get the fuel to the end? There we see Skyjacker. I think Koi Carp and Uncle B is the ones we're watching. Uncle B's crossed the line to Koi Carp. Got across the line to go on this final lap, but Uncle B has finished in 8th and Electric finishing in 9th, and Skyjacker clinging on to this lead. Oh my god, Digital Blasphemy's off the track. Digital Blasphemy is off of the track. Oh my gosh. He's back on the track. There's Skyjacker 6/10. They're coming through Blanchimont. They're coming close to the end of the lap. And Digital's off again. Digital's off again. He's really going wide everywhere. Skyjacker going into the final chicane. And it looks like Skyjacker's going to do the impossible. He's got no fuel, though. He's got no fuel. He's got no fuel. Oh, my word. Digital's flying all over the place, but Skyjacker takes the win. Digital Blasphemy grabs 2nd place, and Matt Psycho finishes 3rd on the podium, with Digital Blasphemy getting the fastest lap. Shiren comes home in 4th place. Ranger 2 seconds ahead of Daz. Unbelievable stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was intense at the end there. So Shiren coming through the chicane to grab himself 4th place in this race. A great strategy. Just, I don't know what happened really. Lost a little time on that 2nd pit stop, and he comes home to grab himself 4th. Ranger gets 5th ahead of Daz, but Ranger's really thin on fuel, so is Daz. It's very tight here. That's how close these guys have sussed out their strategies to the last ounce of fuel, as fluid ounce that is. And there is Ranger getting himself 5th place ahead of Daz in 6th, and Koikarp coming home in 7th place. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've commentated on anything like that before. That was unbelievable. Skyjacker saying, that is by far my hardest and best win ever. Well done, Skyjacker. I didn't think you could do it at the end there, but wow. And Digital Blasphemy was pushing with everything he had. He was off the track twice, trying to chase you down. And here comes a Koikarp to bring her home in 7th, ahead of Uncle B, Darren, who finished in 8th, and Electric in 9th. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you run an endurance race. Skyjacker, Digital Blasphemy, and Matt Psycho. Whew. So there he is, our man Skyjacker, his first win of the season, pole position to the win. Unbelievable. Change of strategy in the middle. Great stuff. Matt Psycho saying, awesome race. That was unbelievable to watch. Fantastic stuff. Right, I've got to save the replay. Whoo-wee. And I'll take you to the race results. My God, I'm sweaty. There you go. I don't know how, but Skyjacker managed to get that win from Digital Blasphemy. It was so tight, so tight at the end there. And Matt Psycho coming home to finish off the podium. Take a boo, my son. Great racing from everyone involved. Shiren coming home in 4th, Ranger in 5th, Daz 6th, Koikarp in 7th, Uncle B Darren in 8th, and Electric coming home in 9th. And I that was thoroughly enjoying that was tense. That was some tense driving right near the end there. Whew, I'm lost for words. What a race. And Digital Blasphemy got the fastest lap on lap 10 with a 2:13.936. Unbelievable stuff. And Matt Sykes saying, congratulations, Sky. Pat saying, wow, what a finish. Well done, Skyjacker. And Mama Sykes saying, great racing. Thanks, guys. Great thingy. Hope all family better. Yeah, they're all COVID free now. They're all tickety boo. They're fighting fit. They're great stuff. It's all good. And I can't catch COVID, it seems. I licked all the door handles. I did anything I could, but no. No, I didn't. I stayed well away from them. I slept on an airbed in the living room. My wife virtually locked herself in the bedroom, and the kids locked themselves in their bedrooms. So, yeah, we all avoided each other. I didn't get sick at all, and the wife, she had a bit of a cold, a little bit of a snuffle. She's putting her fingers up at me at the moment. Yeah, she felt rough, but she got through it, because she's a woman, she says, and they have a better pain threshold. She said it was better that she had it than me, because I wouldn't have survived. Anyway, enough about me and my family. What a race. What an absolute corker. And next week it's Bathurst, I'm pretty sure. So join us for that. That's going to be just as exciting as this one, I imagine. Bathurst always kicks up a beautiful race. I'm checking it is Bathurst, but I think it is. Yeah, Mount Panorama, or Panodrama. So, yeah, come and join us for that. It's going to be beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I was your broadcaster and your commentator, Russell Sprout. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Peace and love. Peace and love.